learners, welcome to e-education NIOS. Today we are doing 10th standard English chapter 1 for NIOS. The first chapter is snake bite. Have you ever teased an animal? What did your elders have to say to you? How did the animal react? Did you think about how the animal felt? In this story, the narrator Raja is an innocent young boy. He is adventurous and likes to meddle with creatures like snakes and bees. His grandparents are concerned about his well-being and safety. Once, when a bee stings him, they think he has been bitten by a snake. His grandfather takes him to a man whom he believes can cure snake bites. Let us read the story and see what happens. The objective of this lesson is, after completing this lesson, you'll dis be able to discuss the theme of the story, relate to the feelings and behavior of reptiles and other living creatures, think critically about people's superstition and blind faith in untrained medicine men. Think critically about the myth that all snakes are dangerous. Realize the importance of timely and effective communication. Realize that silence is not always good. Realize that silence is not always good. Use some new words in meaningful sentences. Give the past tense form of some commonly used verbs. Discriminate between regular and irregular verbs. Form adverbs from adjectives and use them appropriately. Frame requests and inquiries. Write short description of people. Let us now read the text. One day, I saw a small snake in the compound. It was crawling along slowly, but when it saw me, it moved away quickly and hid itself in a coconut shell. I quickly went near and closed the mouth of the coconut shell with a stone. Then I took the shell and ran to grandmother. Look, grandma, I cried. I have caught a snake. Snake? Asked grandmother in alarm. She was shocked. She cried for help. Grandfather came running. When he learnt that I had a snake in the shell, he snatched the shell and threw it away. The snake crawled away and disappeared behind some bushes. Grandfather warned me never to go near a snake because snakes were very dangerous. Later in the evening, I tried to catch a bee and it stung me on the finger. I felt a sharp pain. I ran to grandmother and told her that I had been bitten and wanted her to do something to stop the pain. Grandmother thought that I had been bitten by a snake. She called out to grandfather, come and see what has happened to Raja. Grandfather came at once. He looked at my finger and there was a blue mark. Without a word, he took me in his arms and started running. He ran across the garden and through the paddy fields. He ran and did not stop until he reached a small house quite some distance away from our home. Then he shouted for the man who lived there. An old gray-haired man came out of the house. He knew the cure for snake bite. Grandfather asked him to cure me. The old man took me inside. He looked at my finger and then asked me to sit down and not to move. I sat on my grandfather's lap. The old man then took some water in small brass vessel, sat in front of us and started reciting some mantras. I wanted to tell him that it was a bee and not a snake that had bitten me, but grandfather held me tight and did not allow me to talk. Grandmother, too, had arrived by then and some other people with her. They looked sad and silently watched me. By this time, the pain in my finger had stopped, but still I had to sit there and get cured of a snake bite. After a few minutes, the old man got up, washed my finger, gave me some water to drink. He asked me to keep quiet for some time. Then he turned to grandfather and said, "Thank God you brought Raja in time. He is out of danger now. It was indeed a poisonous snake that bit him." Grandfather, grandmother, and all others thanked the old man for the magic cure. On returning home, grandfather sent him gifts. This was written by Shankar. The book name is Life with Grandfather, a story from his collection. So let us understand the text. From one day I saw to very dangerous. Have you ever seen snakes in your neighborhood? One day Raja sees a snake in his compound. He carries it home in a coconut shell. His grandmother is shocked to know that there is a snake inside the shell. His grandfather throws the shell away and tells Raja that creatures like snakes are dangerous. His grandparents worry about his safety. His grandfather tells him never to go near a snake again. So now we'll move on to the in-text question. So why do you think the snake hid itself? So the answer to that will be the snake hid itself because it was scared of human beings. What did Raja do when he saw the snake go into the coconut shell? Raja put a stone on the mouth of the coconut shell to close it. Why was grandmother shocked and how did she react to it? Raja's grandmother was shocked to hear that Raja had brought home a snake. She cried for help. Imagine you are Raja's grandfather. Raja brings home a snake. How do you think you would react? For this, you will need to answer this, learners. This is an individual question based on your imagination. Now, we will come on to the second part, that is true or false. The snake hid under a stone. It is true. Raja was very excited to see the snake. That is true. Just a correction, learners. The snake hid under a stone. That is not true. That is false. The snake hid in a coconut shell, which then the coconut shell's mouth was closed by a stone. So the first one is false. The second one is true. Raja's grandparents were very worried to see the coconut shell with the snake in it. That is true. The coconut shell broke and the snake crawled away. That is false. Raja's grandfather threw the coconut shell away. Now let's learn new words. So we need to find words from the passage which mean the opposite of the following word. So naturally, far means near, opened, closed, appeared, disappeared, always, never. So for far it is near, open is closed, appeared is disappeared, always is never. We have matched the word columns in column A and with their opposites in column B. Quietly is noisily. Then we have slowly. So that becomes quickly. Went becomes came. Dangerous becomes harmless. Do you know? There are about 2000 species of snake in the world. All snakes are not poisonous. In India, there are about 270 species of which only 70 are poisonous. Some Indian species are the cobra, the krait, the flower snake, the rat snake, the python, and the Russell viper. Snakes have good vision. All snakes are colorblind. Snakes have different habitats. Some snakes live in a hole, others in warm seas, semi-desert, swamp, and trees. The biggest snake in the world is the anaconda, found in the jungle of South America. It can grow to the size of a full-grown human. The smallest snake can be just 10 centimeters long. So now it is let us talk. Making request. You have to practice the following dialogue with a friend. You. Could you open this bottle for me, please? Friend. Sure. You. Thank you. This is a polite way of requesting. Do you have a spare pencil? Yes, I do. May I borrow it? I've forgotten to bring mine. Of course, here you are. Thank you. In the first one, you are requesting someone else. In the second one, someone is asking and then requesting. They're asking if you have a spare pencil and then requesting if they may borrow it. When you ask someone to do something for you or ask for permission to do something, it is important to sound polite. Here are some ways in which you can do this. Requesting someone to do something for you. Could you shut the door for me, please? Would you mind passing the paper, please? Can you suggest a movie I could watch over the weekend? And asking for permission to do something. Can I use your computer, please? Could you lend me some money? Do you mind if I turn on the fan? Now use the exercise given above to make a simple request. Ask your friend for some help in doing something. Ask for direction to go somewhere, or ask for a dictionary. Now we come to part 2 of Let Us Read. Do you like playing with animals? Did you or anyone you know ever get by a cat, scratched by a cat, or bitten by a dog while playing? How did your parents react to this? Raja is curious about creatures like snakes and bees. In the evening, when he tries to catch a bee, he gets stung. He runs for help to his grandmother and shows her the sting. She immediately thinks that it is a snake bite. His grandfather looked at the bite and thinks exactly the same thing. He picks him up and runs to the house of a man who he believes can help them. Raja does not get a chance. Raja does not get a chance to tell anyone that he has been bitten by a bee and not a snake. Sometimes people misunderstand and react to situations without listening or asking questions. Has this ever happened to you? So now we'll go on to in-text question 1.2. Why did the bee sting Raja? Because Raja tried to catch it. Why did Raja go to his grandmother? Raja went to his grandmother because he was in pain and wanted his grandmother to help him stop the pain. What did his grandmother think? Why did she think so? Grandmother thought that a snake had bitten Raja because he told her that he had been bitten and because he had brought home a snake earlier in the morning. What do you think his grandmother should have done when Raja came to her after being stung by a bee? So this is an individual response question. According to me, the grandmother must have asked Raja what bit him and where did it bite him. So basically, I remember in the story that Raja told he has been bitten on the hand, but he did not tell where he was bitten. So the grandmother should have asked what bit him. But you can give your own individual response to this. What would have happened if Raja had been bitten by a snake, but his grandmother believed that he was bitten by a bee? Explain in about 30 to 40 words. So this is also an individual response. It is to be given by you. So now we'll come on to true or false. Raja's grandfather got very worried to see the blue mark on Raja's finger. That is true. Raja had to run through the paddy fields with his grandfather. That is false. His grandfather had to run through the paddy fields carrying Raja. Raja and his grandfather ran to catch the bee. False. Raja's grandfather ran holding Raja in his hands to the untrained medicine man's house to cure Raja from the snake bite. Raja's grandfather had to run a long distance carrying Raja in his arms. That is true. Radha's grandfather shouted because he was angry. That is false. He was worried for Raja's well-being. Now let us learn new words again. Find words, phrases in the story which are in close meaning to the following words. Sustain, that becomes mark. Far, some distance away. Ache is pain. Fill in the blanks in the following sentence using suitable words from the story. She is wearing a diamond ring on her index finger. I have a dash in my legs because I am tired. I have pain in my legs because I am tired. I grow colorful flowers in my dash. I grow colorful flowers in my garden. Farmers plow through their dash with tractors. Farmers plow through their fields with their tractors. Now read the following sentence. Snake hiss, bee buzz, cat mew, parrot talk. The underlined word denotes the sound made by the creature mentioned in the above sentence. Now match the name of the animals in column A with sounds in column B. Lion. Lion roars. Elephant trumpets. Donkey brays. Monkey chatter. Cows low. Bears growl. Do you know bees live in colonies or hives of 50,000 bees on average? Bees have an inborn ability to communicate. Bees' language is a language of smell and dancing. Bees sting only in self-defense. After stinging, a bee dies instantly. A bee sting is painful. When stung by a bee, one should remove the stinger as quickly as possible. The use of an ice pack reduces the swelling and the pain of a bee sting. Now you have been given a crossword over here in Let Us Do. Complete the following crossword with the help of the given clues. All the words are given from the story. One has been done for you. Across. Children learn to move like this on four limbs before they can walk. That is crawl. Crawl. A reptile. Snake. That has been marked for us. The boy got malaria because he was dashed by mosquitoes. Past participle of the word to bite. It is six letters. So that is bitten. Rice fields are also known as dash fields. That is paddy fields. Now we come on to down. A fruit with a hard covering. A fruit with a hard covering is a coconut. A reptile again is a snake, which has been answered for us. A metal which is five letters. So a metal which is five letters is brass. A part of the body, a part of the body is finger. Now let us come to the part 3 of let us read, that is understand the text. When you fall ill or get hurt, you usually go to doctor if you live in city or town. But in most villages, doctors are not easily available. So villagers usually go to the village medicine man for help. This is what happens with Raja too. Raja's grandparents think that the bee sting on his finger is a snake bite. His grandfather picks him up and runs across the field to the house of a medicine man. The medicine man convinces them that Raja's life is in danger because of the poisonous snake bite. Raja's finger stops hurting before the medicine man gives him any treatment. But Raja does not tell anyone this. The medicine man makes Raja's grandparents believe that Raja is safe because of his treatment and mantras. Raja's grandfather thanks the medicine man by giving him gift. But Raja knows the old man is a liar and has fooled everybody. Now we come to answer the following questions. What did grandfather tell the old man to do? So the grandfather told the old man to cure Raja of snake bite. What two things did the old man do? He took some water in a vessel and started reciting mantras. Why was everyone sad and silent? Everyone was sad and silent because they thought Raja had been bitten by a snake and his life was in danger. Why did Raja's grandfather send gifts to the old man? Grandfather sent gifts to the old man as a reward for curing Raja. Do you think the old man cured Raja? No, the old man did not cure Raja. The old man knew how to cure a snake bite, but Raja did not have a snake bite. He had been he had a bee sting, and his bee sting stopped hurting before the old man washed his finger and gave him water to drink. If you were Raja, would you keep quiet like him? This is an individual response for you to answer, my dear learners. Say whether the following statements are true or false. The old man gave Raja medicine to cure him. That is false. Only Raja knew that he had not been bitten by a snake bite. That is true. Raja's grandfather did not give Raja a chance to tell what had happened to him. That is true. As time passed, the pain in Raja's finger stopped. That is also true. Find words in the story which are opposite in the meaning to the following word. So, loose becomes tight, happy becomes sad, loudly becomes silently, noisy becomes quiet, young becomes old, and safety becomes danger. Now, let us come to let us do. In the box given below, there is a list of adjectives which can be used for Raja, his grandparents, or the old man. Write them down in column A, B, or C as the case may be. You may take the help of a dictionary to know the meaning of a given word. So, right now, for Raja, let's see over here. Let's start from caring. So, caring, we can take grandparents as caring. So we'll mark whatever is for the grandparents with yellow, whatever is for Raja with blue, and whatever is for the medicine man with red. So let's start with the yellow, caring. simple, obedient, affectionate, pretender, superstitious, nervous, innocent, gullible, adventurous, concerned, innocent, clever. You might be wondering why the word innocent has come twice, as both the grandparents and Raja both are innocent. So, caring, simple, affectionate, superstitious, nervous, gullible, concerned, and innocent are the grandparents. Obedient, innocent, and adventurous is Raja, and pretender and clever is the old man. So now you have some task to do. I will allow you to go ahead with that and skip this over here for this video. Now let us learn grammar. The verb. We classify verb as regular verb and irregular verb. Regular verb. Read the following sentence appearing in the story. Grandmother was shocked to see the snake in a coconut shell. She called out to grandfather. They reached a small house. Then he shouted for the man who lived there. The underlined verbs are in the simple past tense. They refer to actions that have happened in the past. To form simple past tense verb from simple past tense verbs, we just add d or ed for the verb. Like shock becomes shocked, call becomes called. These verbs are regular verbs because they have d or ed ending as a regular feature in the past tense. Irregular verb. I took the shell and ran to grandmother. He snatched the shell and threw it away. Look, grandma, I caught a snake. The underlined verbs are irregular verbs. They do not end in d or ed. All verbs do not take the d or ed ending to form the past tense. In some verbs, there is a change in spelling in the past tense form, as you can see in the above sentences. Example, simple past tense. Take become took, throw become threw, catch become caught. Given below are some more examples of irregular verbs. Run, ran, hear, heard, bring, brought, buy, bought, deal, dealt, bind, bound. Some verbs remain the same in the past tense as they are in the present tense. Example, we put simple present tense some extra sugar in our tea. We put some extra sugar in our tea. I'm sorry, I put salt instead of sugar yesterday. So now we come to exercise 1. Find 5 examples of each past tense form of regular and irregular verb in the story. So I will allow you to do that, but give the answer here for it. The regular verbs were shocked, snatched, want, wanted, happened. The irregular verbs are hid, went, thought, held, and gave. The exercise 2. Write the simple past tense of the following words. Put them in column A or column B, as the case may be. So right now I'll use yellow for regular and blue for irregular. So the ones I've marked now, you can either add ed to them or a d to them, which makes them a regular verb. Now I'll mark the irregular verbs. This is the ones left out. So now I will tell the answer to all of them. Draw becomes drew, walk becomes walked, manage becomes managed, hold becomes held, ask becomes asked, forgive becomes forgave, drive becomes drove, meet becomes met, swim becomes swam, repair becomes repaired, shake becomes shook, cook becomes cooked, ring becomes rang, clean becomes cleaned, enjoy becomes enjoyed, bear becomes bore, lead becomes led, LED, cheat becomes cheated, write becomes wrote, eat becomes ate. I hope you have understood, my dear learners. Now we'll move on to the next exercise. Exercise 3. Give two examples of verbs that are the same in the present and past tense. Let, cut. They never change. I let him play yesterday evening. I am let I let him play yesterday evening. I let him go to the shop right now to buy some things. So that is past and present. Now we come on to adverbs. Read the following sentence. She reads the newspaper. She reads the newspaper silently. In the first sentence, read is an action verb. In the second sentence, silently tells us how she reads. It tells us something more about the verb, so it is an adverb. As you know, verbs are action words. Adverbs are the words that tell us something more about verb. Read the following sentences. He speaks loudly. She walks slowly. She dresses up beautifully. He walks fast. The underlined verbs are adverbs. Usually, adverbs are formed by adding ly to adjectives. Example, loud becomes loudly, slow becomes slowly, beautiful becomes beautifully. However, some adverbs are exception to this rule. We do not add ly to some adjectives to make adverbs. For example, I say walk fast. We do not say I walk fastly. It's the ly cannot be added to fast. So form adverbs on the adjectives and use them in your own sentence. So neat you can add ly neatly, nicely, softly, clearly, carefully, regularly, and gracefully, and elegantly. Neatly, nicely, softly, clearly, elegantly, carefully, regularly, gracefully. So let us come on to let us do. Do you know that there are several branches of traditional medicine in India? Some examples are Ayurveda, homeopathy, and Unani. Speak with a doctor in your locality to understand the difference between Western medicine, that is allopathy, and traditional medicine, that is Ayurveda, homeopathy, and Unani. Speak with your mother, write down a list of things found at home that she uses to cure simple ailments. For example, she must use ginger for stomach upsets. So, this is a project for you to do. So, over here we have come to let us write, describing people. Raja came home and wrote a description of the old man. Before writing the description of old man, Raja noted some points given below. Age, physical features, tall, stout, white, beard, grey hair, shrewd look, dress, behavior, special points. This is what Raja wrote. An old grey-haired man came out of the hut. He was short and stout, and had a white beard. He wore a long white robe and a skull cap. He looked quite shrewd and intelligent. He was also very polite. In about 6 to 7 words, write a sentence description of someone with the help of the hints given below. Name, age, physical features. So, what you have learned in this chapter, we learned that in an emergency, it is very important to find out what happened before reacting. If we want to avoid making mistake, sometimes we unnecessarily complicate situations because we are influenced by our wrong beliefs, lack of knowledge, and fear of even harmless things. The simple problem of Raja's bee sting got complicated due to all of the above reasons. We also learnt that we should be aware of untrained medicine men like the old man in the story, who cheat innocent people by creating fear in their minds. Now we come on to the terminal questions. What do you think Raja felt when he had to sit in front of the old man to be treated for a snake bite? This is an individual response that you need to give, but I'll give you a suggested response. He might have felt restless and helpless. What do you think why do you think Raja's grandfather did not let Raja speak? Do you approve of Raja's silence? So this also is an individual response, but the suggested response would be Raja's grandfather did not let him speak because he was very sure about what was wrong with Raja and about what had to be done. He did not want to waste time talking about it because he believed Raja's life was in danger. If you were in Raja's place, you might have freed yourself from your grandfather's arm, run away. However, I do not approve of Raja's silence. He should have told his grandfather the reality. In your opinion, what kind of person was the old man? This is also to be given by you, but the suggested response would be he was shrewd and dishonest. If you were the old man, would you accept the gift sent by Raja? Give reason for your answer. So this is individual response with no suggested answers. So you can give any answer, it is not wrong. Many people are afraid of snakes. Why do they fear snakes? Do you think they are right? So this is also an individual answer with no wrong answers. So thank you learners for joining me here today on e-education. Let's learn let's crack NIOS. Do like, subscribe and comment, and you can join us on our Telegram group to get any explanation or clear any doubts. Bye bye. Have a nice time.